the yard needs management too. I'm joined today by Colin Mansfield. He is Company Vice President with Yard Management Solutions. Hi, Colin.
Hey, how you doing, Bob?
I'm well, and I wonder if you feel like with all the attention that's been paid in the past years to warehouse management systems, whether people might have taken their eye off the ball a little bit when it comes to yard management.
It's a great question. I would say absolutely. A lot of the folks that we speak with, they kind of treat the yard as a bit of a black hole. That's where stuff goes and you don't know what happens and then eventually it gets to the dock. Often managed very manually, spreadsheets, not uncommon, radios, occasionally, maybe some sort of bespoke system, but rarely it doesn't have the focus, like you mentioned, of a warehouse solution or a transportation management solution.
And so what are you talking about when we're talking about a yard? Let's define this. I mean, what constitutes a yard? What types of equipment? What types of people? And what's going on in a yard that needs to be managed?
Yeah, good point. We say anything between the dock doors of a facility and the gate. That's our domain, right? So you think of it like a big parking lot. Some yards, it's, for a warehouse or a distribution center, it would be trailers often, but we also work with container operations, coming off a port, going into a drop yard. But I always say, the yard is really just rectangles on a screen. It could be as simple as finished vehicles coming off the lot or coming off the line, ready to be shipped out. All the way to, containerized pallets.
Yeah. When we talk about the need to move things along in a yard, we hear that drivers sit around for 4 hours before they're able to unload their stuff. Yeah. I imagine it's important to make it as efficient and streamlined as possible.
Fortunately, that's not uncommon. I've seen inside of facilities often using robotics, very, automated solutions, often advanced. Out in the yard, these same facilities are putting sticky notes on trailers.
Wow.
And it's crazy, really the gap of technology and also the gap of automated solutions that are available.
Okay, YMS, Yard Management System. Why?
Yeah, no, great question. Well, often when I'm talking to companies, they're not doing a bad job of managing their yard. In fact, quite the opposite. Most companies are doing a very good job. They're using whatever systems, in the logistics industry, we just get stuff done. In supply chain, we do what it takes. It doesn't matter. What happens though is as companies grow, as they scale, as they add more facilities, as they add more spots, as they, their number of trailers in out per day increases, eventually they hit a cap. And whatever tool they're using, whatever process they're using, isn't good enough anymore. They're double-handed radios where they used to just be able to pick up and call somebody. Their email inboxes are bloated, right? And they can never get to the bottom of them. They're having a really hard time maybe even finding trailers out in the yard, unfortunately not uncommon. So what I say is, really, this tool is for companies really that are growing and they've outgrown their manual processes. They've outgrown whatever system, tools, or spreadsheets, as it were, that they were using that made them very successful.
What are some of the best kinds of sensors to use in order to manage and monitor what's going on in a yard?
It's a great question. Kind of a trick question too, because really you don't need sensors in the yard. There are lots of solutions out there that will recommend, put a tag on every trailer. Put a RFID tag, put a GPS tag, right? And these are valid solutions, especially if you come at the yard with a warehouse mindset. In the warehouse, great opportunity for sensors. The problem is out in the yard, a lot of folks don't own all their own trailers, right? They're either leasing trailers or they've got carriers that are coming in. It's containers coming in from the port that they don't own. And the ask, if you're talking about sensors, the ask is to put a sensor on every asset that comes in or out of that facility. You're talking a huge upfront spend. Really, you don't need sensors. All you need is dedicated folks out there who are using a very simple system to get their jobs done, often on touchscreen device of some kind or perhaps on a computer, and they're marking what they're doing. It's called a process-driven method. That's something that we try to really educate folks about is, look, it doesn't need to take hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to launch a YMS in your yard. It can actually be very simple and effective.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I'm a company and I want to evaluate a YMS for me, what are some of the criteria I need to employ?
Yeah, that's a great question. One of the big ones is ask for references. And this is true of course, any system, but often it can get overlooked in the yard. There's lots of vendors out there who are going to provide a all-in-one solution, right? They're going to provide a warehouse, a transportation, and they'll slide the yard management system in there. We call those a bolt-on or an add-on solution. I would steer clear of those, and the reason why is not because they're bad, but because often they're treated as an afterthought. I'm a big believer that modern shipping yards deserve modern software, not something that's just thrown in there because. So that's number one. Number two is, I would definitely, on the references piece, ask for customers, ask for folks who have had good experiences using the system, and then interview or go on site with those folks. Nothing beats a face-to-face, especially in our industry, and hearing the good, the bad, and the ugly about a solution before you go to implement yourself is just crucial. So those are probably the top two.
No issues in particular, given the current state of the art of the technology in terms of integrating a YMS with a WMS? Is there anything
No, that's
problematic there?
Phenomenal question. I would say that would probably be, I'd add that onto the criteria as well. Is like, you got to pick a solution that is going to be able to interface with these other great solutions that are out there seamlessly. I always say in supply chain, if you can't integrate, you're dead. You got to be able to talk to other solutions. You got to be able to talk to other things that are out there, because nobody wants to data entry twice, 3 times, 4 times, right? Nobody wants to copy and paste. It's got to all be seamless. So most solutions that are out there today do provide some sort of integration capability, but before you employ anything, that's something to ask for sure.
Thanks so much, Colin, for helping us to understand just what a YMS or a yard management system is all about. I do want to take a moment to ask you about yard management solutions specifically.
Yes, sir.
What's your role in all this?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, as you can imagine, it's in the name. We provide a cutting-edge yard management system. We're an industry leader in this space, laser focused on the yard. Like I mentioned, there's lots of other solutions out there, kind of treating it as an afterthought. We're the industry leader in really focusing on the yard and what that can mean. So bringing automation, bringing integration, and bringing visibility in a very simple, easy to use, simple to learn package. So that's what we're really, out here doing, talking to folks, spreading the industry knowledge and education about, look, the yard is not just a piece, it's actually a crucial piece that gets overlooked in the supply chain as a whole. Doesn't have to be a black hole. We've had customers save $500,000, $2.5 million. It's not waving a magic wand. It's visibility, being able to fight things like detention, demurrage, losing trailers ahead of time.
Well, thank you, Colin, for helping to answer the question, why a YMS? Appreciate your time.
Hey, thanks, Bob. Appreciate it.
Been speaking to Colin Mansfield of Yard Management Solutions. Thank you very much for watching.